for the second talk and the B track of the day. Our very own Luka Mužinić, who is also one of the responsible ones for Graphite. We will talk about dashboards and devops.
Thank you, Luka. So, welcome, good morning. Welcome to my talk about dashboards, about real-time or technically near real-time monitoring systems. I'm Luka Mužinić. I'm a PHP developer from Zagreb. I like to code things like many of you. I work at a company called Home Exchange. If you like to visit some other country while some other family is staying at your place, so you're technically visiting for free, you can sign up, create your profile, and exchange with other members. Also, I come from a little bit of a teaching background. I've been teaching new developers, mentoring them for the last 3 years. So occasionally I tend to ask questions to the audience. So don't be scared, they're very easy. You might have some homework afterwards, but it's all in a day's work. So my introduction today is a little bit sugar-coated. My friends are joking that I should do this like Alcoholics Anonymous style. So let's go like that. Hi, I'm Luka, and I have a tracking problem. Hi. Yeah, I see that with it. Okay, so my tracking problem consists of this. I like to track things. I like to track my runnings. I like to track my time. Am I doing something productive throughout the day? Am I billing clients? I wore Fitbit for a year to see my activity, to see my sleeping patterns. I used to paraglide a lot, so I've been tracking my flights, tracking my height, and everything like that. And also I've been tracking my spending habits. So if you take a look at the upper right corner, you'll see a familiar Slovenian application, Toshel. And you see that I've been spending some money in Virtia. If you're not from Croatia, Virtia means bars. So I've been spending some money there. And at the end of the month, I crunched data. I saw that I would like to buy myself a new toy, and how can I get some more money? And Virtia was an obvious solution. So I changed my behavior. I started spending less, and at the end, I ended up with extra 300 in my pocket. So great for me. But I'm not a life coach. I'm not here to talk about how you should run your life. I'm here to talk about things related to web development. And since you are practically all web developers, I will show you a little piece of code of what just happened here. It's a little bit of an old code. So if you have like a Commodore 64 or something newer, you will be able to run it. So this just happened. I was tracking things. After that, I was trying to understand what was going on. And then I reacted. So we'll quickly translate all this into web applications, into web development. And I won't be talking about how to react, because you probably know about that much better than me. I will be talking about those first two things. So let's see how this all goes, how this all applies to web applications. In web applications, you need to, it's not web application, but bear with me. You need to understand what is going on very quickly. For example, if you went to parachuting school, they would show you what is called malfunction pictures. You would be strapped to parachuting equipment, and the instructor would hold these pictures above your head, and you should know how to react. What they're trying to teach you there is trying to make your reactions as instinctively as possible they can get. Because when you're free falling from an airplane, you have a limited number of meters before you land. And if something like this happens, you can't really pull up the manual and list and try to figure out what was going on, because probably the manual will just pull out with your hands. So same thing we will use in tracking web applications. I'm going to try to make you see behavior of your web applications, and if your server is on fire, if shit starts hitting the fan, you will know how to react instinctively. Quickly, let's just cover this first part, the tracking part, and then we'll get back to understanding what's going on. So, of course, you need tools. I've listed a few. There are many, many more. First three are just simple data aggregation and graphing tools. So put any data into them and graph afterwards. You can use Logstash if you want to parse logs and pull out some data from them. And the last two are practically industry standards for monitoring your server health in terms of CPU, memory usage, and everything like that. I tried using the first two, and I had much success with them, and I like it very much because they're very simple to use. For example, StatsD and Graphite, they allow you to take any kind of metric. I call this tracking the rendering time or some events. So this part is called a bucket. You can name it as long as you like. And you send some value. For example, 250 is the number of milliseconds that was needed for my server to render complete HTML and to send it. There's also an optional parameter called timestamp. I didn't put it here because I tried to keep the lines as short as possible, but yeah, please include it as you are relying on the network connection for the time. So when you send this data to a server will collect it, and afterwards we are just using some kind of graph utility to show the graphs. So this is the fun part. This is the main topic of my talk, because right now we need to understand what the hell is going on. And right now my teaching habit is kicking in, so I'll be asking you some questions. I will be showing you graphs that have on the y-axis time. I will show you the time span of my application for the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And on the x-axis, I will be showing you the values called rendering time, before mentioned, how much time my server took to render HTML. So quickly, just give an answer. It was good or bad, yay or nay. Is this thing good? Server is on fire. Quickly, people. Good or bad? Who is saying bad? Who is saying good? Who is waiting for something else to happen? Okay. Okay, let me show you another graph before I answer if this was correct. Is it good or bad? This is good. Okay, great. But I'm a teacher. I like to trick my students. So I'm actually showing you the same thing. Because these two graphs are calculated from the same set of data. Because here, the values are between 150 to 170. That's a pretty small change. And yeah, web applications fluctuate, so you don't have to worry about that. And if you want to be normal while doing web development, you will normalize your graphs. So just take the rubbish, take the clutter, and yeah, focus if everything is working okay or not. Okay, another one. My application just started performing better. This rarely happens. And this was a very difficult thing to track, and I couldn't be able to figure it out what was going on. I went to last year's webcam, and I went to this guy's talk right here, and he was talking about stress testing applications. It was an interesting talk, but the one thing really struck me. He said, forget averages, look for highs and lows. And I did exactly that. I split my graph into two, and an interesting pattern appears. The majority of my requests were pretty normal, but just a small amount of slowest one, or the fastest one, were impacted with that. That allowed me to look into logs and to see that one controller was just returning error 500 and quickly fix, and we were running back normal. So thank you, Sam. Also, when you see two lines on the graph, you should not be scared, because try to get to know your applications, try to get to know your users, what are they doing. I heard that Usual has seasonality sort of problem, where people like to use Usual in certain parts of the day, and many websites do it like that. They have users come first in the morning, and they have a spike of users. So if you are able, use time series and compare your data to the data that was like 1 week ago. So if you see a sudden increase in traffic, and you see that the same thing happened like a week ago, you can compare against it and say, okay, everything is normal, I don't need to worry. Okay, another question, good or bad? Bad, of course. But can you tell me what happened here? Okay, so something happened. What I'm trying to say that you can put on your graph other information. For example, did something change? Did somebody hit, okay, deploy a new version? Did somebody clear out the cache? So you can quickly find out that at this one point, if we are saying, okay, we deployed a new version, are we in a situation of fuck, revert, or are we saying, okay, let's just hack it and fix it later? So put some relevant information about what is changing. Is your memcache restarted or something like that on your graphs as well? It will also keep you seeing longer. Okay, we have a similar graph. It's a little bit different, but again, rendering time increased. Is it good or is it bad? Trick question. He showed us the same graph, it was bad, but right now we expect something good. And you would probably be right, because if we try and if we provide meaningful context in terms of add another metric on the same graph, we might get a better insight. So for example, if I show two metrics, one is rendering time, and the other is, let's say, the number of visitors, number of times the controller was hit, I can see that there is an increase in traffic, so normally my application is running a little bit slower. So either I should be happy that somebody put my website on Reddit and think about upgrading everything. It's hard to give a talk about measuring and then talk about an impact that can be measured. But we also had one pretty good turnout of running a dashboard in the office. We placed a monitor outside, above the door. So each time somebody went to get a fresh cup of coffee, somebody would look at it and see what's going on. And all my members did that. And an amazing thing happened. I see a change in their behavior. The application stopped being something that they just code and put some code up. They actually started thinking about, okay, how many times will that controller be accessed? Okay, if I add another query to the database, will that hurt the application? So they became very smart and very aware of what is going on. Also, since we showed some other kind of business metrics, they were more engaged in making the site better because they shared their business success. And this sort of impact was very glad for me to see in my team members, because they stopped doing damage. Also, one of the embarrassing things that I experienced a lot of times was my clients calling me and saying, hey, did you know our site is down? And at this this point, you can only try to play it cool and be like, yes, just let me check, okay, everything. So when you see that there are some problems on your dashboard, that your dashboard is showing that your application is going through ups and downs, you can just phone your client and say, okay, we are seeing some problems, we are on top of it, we'll figure it out and let you know what's going on. And it's much, much better than simply waiting for your clients to call and say that the site is done. And that is really embarrassing. So in short, the moral of the story today is that you should try and implement some sort of monitoring. If you have any kind of application that's worth monitoring, you should put up a dashboard, monitor its progress, and then decide on your further actions. For me, it had a very good impact, and I sincerely hope that you will try it as well, because you really might be surprised by the results. Thank you. Any questions? My love goes this way.
Please wait there.
Hi, thanks for a very inspiring talk. I mean, this makes me think about what I'm going to work on next on. And I was wondering, there are those log tracking frameworks. I was wondering, are there any dashboards like popular to use? I mean, are there any predefined sets of data that you should be watching? I mean, something like that, like best practices. I mean, if I'm just starting, what should I start tracking?
Okay, that's pretty tough question, pretty broad. I started tracking response time because the way we started with all monitoring how application performs was the request from the client that put a ticket that said, our app seems slow. And yeah, I said, okay, if I'm going to optimize the application, I want to first know how it's performing. So we started with rendering time, and then just simply added some business logic metrics in terms of clicks that we were counting. People usually count logins if the login is important. So if you see the drop in number of logins, you know that something is bad there. So it's really up to you to know your application, then decide if it's good or if it's bad, or what should you track. But I say to start with tracking just controllers, how are they performing, then you can go deeper.
I have questions which are sysadmins, and they have a obsession with checking their mobile phones to check if something is broken or something like that. Do you have such an obsession, or somebody in your team, to always check what's happening?
No. I mean, dashboards are pretty good because they stand on the wall and they provide less distraction than emails, for example. I like to turn off emails when I'm coding. So if you want to add something, I would suggest some sort of Arduino device that has an air horn and just trigger it when some metrics goes above threshold. That way, when you hear the horn, you will react and not check your phone every 10 seconds. But usually we track the monitoring, especially when we did the deploys or resetting something, upgrading the server and stuff. So, yeah.
So hi, I have a question. Do you have any alerting system on top of the Graphite, if you're using Graphite? So do you have any system that will actually alert you when those metrics that you care about go above or below?
Yeah, we didn't implement it. I was thinking about it. I don't set up some sort of grab the latest data, and if it's above threshold, send me an email. But since I'm not checking emails, because not good for me. But I've seen some people use Arduinos. Actually, they don't use air horns. but rotating lights and flashlights, they can draw pretty good attention.
Hi, thank you for a nice talk. I'm curious, how long do you preserve those stats, and what is the ballpark of disk usage?
Sorry, the last part of the question?
Disk usage. I'm interested in disk usage.
Okay, so the database that is used for logging the data is round robin. So it's aggregating data in certain amounts of time. So we've been using 5 seconds interval for last week, which was very important, and then we stored up to a year, and it was about 5 megabytes per metric. So it's not that hungry, and yeah, we decided we really want to focus this moment on the real time of just what is going on. So we even didn't use the last year. But yeah, if you want to compare some seasonality, that would be okay.
How did you produce the graphs for the talk?
Sorry?
How did you produce the graphs for the talk?
I used the service called hosted Graphite and just send the numbers I needed. So
Any more questions?
I was here before.
yeah, you're making him run.
It's me again. I wonder what do you think about platforms like New Relic or those hosted monitoring logging systems?
Okay, so New Relic is a great tool. If you can afford it, and if your server supports it, yeah, use it. But from what I've seen, it's primarily used to track and debug your application in terms of, okay, something is going wrong. Let's see the track state. Okay, let's see the stack of the calls. Okay, this functions. So it's more detailed in telling you what is the problem. I haven't had any experience in using New Relic as a real-time monitoring, and I really think it's a different system.
Anybody else wants to make New Relic? No, thank you, Luka.
Thank you.